Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Every day is tomorrow on the show. We'll talk about Damon Williams at the Elite 11 more. We'll react a little bit to the schedule, and we'll get you primed for your weekend as we are entering the worst month for college football fans on the calendar. But we're going to press through. Ole Miss every day. That's our motto. That's what we want to do. We do this honestly for you. All right. So Damon Williams is out in California at the Elite 11 finals, and he competed at the regional in Oxford, Mississippi, which is weird for somebody from Arizona. It showed how committed he was to the Ole Miss program and what's going on. It really feels like Damon is all in. And he showed out and did pretty well at the regional in Oxford, but he didn't get the immediate invite. So everybody was worried about that. He kind of got waitlisted. But this year, kind of different in years past, is they didn't offer that many people on the spot. I think they only offered like 4 or 5 or 6 players on the spot at the regional. So they had to fill up to get their 20 quarterbacks towards the end. So Damon Williams made that cut. You talk about somebody that we talk about this all the time, and my everydayers can attest to this. He's a guy that whenever actual football is played is actually when he shines. He is not somebody built for the camp setting. No matter how crazy or weird the drill is that he does, he's not built for a camp setting, but he still showed out at a high level to where he was amongst the top 20 quarterbacks that the Elite 11 saw this season. Okay. Real White is also going to be out there with him. That's probably good news as well. Now, he's out there with Dylan Raiola, and I've mentioned this a couple of times on this show. Dylan Raiola played Damon Williams twice last year. That was Chandler, Arizona, and Basha. And they played twice last year, and Damon was the winner both times. Actually won the game. Did what he needed to do. Won the game. And the difference is, Damon Williams is 6 foot tall, maybe. Dylan Raiola is the big prototype statuesque quarterback with all the measurables known to man. I think this is seriously going to be a scenario where you have your Bryce Young versus your Josh Allen type quarterback as far as this class. Damon Williams, 4-star, can make all the throws, surprisingly strong arm, runs an 11-1 100-meter dash. I think a 20.1 200-meter dash. He's a track guy. He can run. If you watch his film on Huddle, you can see exactly how he can be pretty special and what he can do. There's one play on there where he busted up the middle, breaks a tackle, spins around, ends up like a 70-yard touchdown. Just a special type play. What is going to be make or break for Damon Williams, and this is why the Elite 11 is probably important for him, is his pass game. If they can refine his pass game, which it is fine, by the way, I'm not complaining about where it is in high school. It's just a situation where you go to a camp to try and refine one scenario. Like, for instance, you have Jackson Dart at the Manning quarterback or Manning Passing Academy this summer as well. He's trying to refine his game as well as teach these young passers of the ball. So it will be interesting to see that as well. I'm pretty excited, and I've been really bullish on Damon Williams for months at this point. And I just want him to sign and get on the campus as soon as possible, honestly. It's something that just the benefit for Ole Miss would be pretty fantastic. Now, when looking at the actual Elite 11, as far as the numbers of Ole Miss quarterbacks that have been in the Elite 11, I think it was Zach Berry from On3, the Ole Miss Spirit, that came up with this list. And he did the legwork on it. But there was something very interesting to me, okay? Walker Howard was an Elite 11 person. Chad Kelly. Jevin Sneed was an Elite 11 guy. And then you have like Barry Brunetti as well, who's another transfer quarterback. And you start naming names and then gets down into the mid 2015s, essentially. And you get Shea Patterson, who ended up being a bust. And then the next year was Matt Corral. This was the year that it kind of turned around a little bit. And Damon Williams possesses a lot of the traits that Matt Corral does. And especially if Damon can grow another inch or two and get to that height of Matt Corral, you could have a pretty special player on your hands. But if you looked at that list before Ole Miss's before the Matt Corral thing, the main really good quarterbacks that are trendsetters in this Ole Miss history were quarterbacks that transferred in. Ole Miss had difficulty getting that Elite 11 quarterback in the high school ranks. They were able to get them to transfer in, but getting them in that high school ranks was kind of interesting. Other players like Randall Cotton and some people that didn't just quite make it were on that list as well. But after Matt Corral, you have a situation where since, 2018, 2017, 2016, in the last 10 years, Ole Miss has like 5 Elite 11 quarterbacks, and it's a mixture of high school and transfer guys. You do have the Walker Howards, who went to LSU as a true freshman, but you do have the Matt Corral. You do have Shea Patterson, who really showed out at his Elite 11, even if it was a bust in college. So it's going to be very interesting. This is just another step in the journey along the way for Ole Miss. Ole Miss had a long way to go. Ole Miss was a powerhouse in the 1950s, in the early 60s. Started to go down in the mid 60s. In the 70s, went way down. In the 80s, hit the floor. Started the rebuild in the 80s. In the 90s, they got up a little bit better. In the 2000s, they got up a little bit better. 2015s, 2010s, they got up to Access Bowl, New Year's Six level. Peach Bowl, Sugar Bowl. In the 2020s, they've already been to a Sugar Bowl. They've maintained that, and Ole Miss has become a consistent player in the Southeastern Conference. To continue that trajectory is stuff like this Elite 11. And whenever you get on the field, you need to win games. And as Ole Miss takes that next step, it's getting to the point where the playoff is in arm's reach to them. It's getting to the point as a program that Ole Miss football can kind of start being thought about as an upper level SEC team. Even though we did the tiers yesterday, Ole Miss was a tier 2 team. But over the last couple of years, Ole Miss is pretty consistently ranked. They've done Sugar Bowls. They've honestly replaced what the Auburn Tigers used to be. Honestly. And we'll see. Well, again, Hugh Freeze, we talked about the question. He's going to try and get Auburn back to where they were. Lane Kiffin is trying to build Ole Miss and try and get them to the next level. Should be pretty interesting. And I hope everybody enjoys what's going on. Anyway, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Every day is tomorrow on the show. Damon Williams at the Elite 11 Finals. We'll talk about how he is doing, and we'll also react a little bit to the schedule release. And because I had to record this before the release, just because I had 2 live streams during the night to handle as well. So I hope everybody has a good Friday. I hope everybody has a good Thursday, I should say, and enjoy this. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Hotty toddy.